Why does history repeat itself? Different places, different decades. The victims change, but the horror remains. The world watches, sometimes in silence, sometimes in helplessness. Born in London in 1920 to Jewish parents, Leonard Burney joined the army at 18. As one of the first Allied officers to liberate Bergen-Belsen in Germany, he came face to face with humanity at its most broken. But 1945 in Germany was not the end. 2 years later, in 1947, entire communities were torn apart as violence swept through the newly divided Indian subcontinent. And in 1984, Sikhs in India faced an orchestrated genocide. Homes burned, families massacred, an entire community targeted. At the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, hosted by the Church of Scientology, John Wood, son of Major Burney, shared his father's testimony alongside survivors' accounts. What happened in Nazi Germany didn't stay in the past. Almost 40 years later, a chilling pattern re-emerged in India. Sikhs were slaughtered, hunted, burned alive by mobs driven to erase them from history. United Sikhs UK raised this crucial point. These aren't isolated events.
Hearing about Bergen-Belsen, one is reminded of how easily humanity's foundation can be shaken. In 1947, during the partition of the Asian subcontinent, millions were uprooted, lives shattered in ways that defy comprehension. Decades later, in 1984, the Sikh genocide once again revealed how fear, hatred, and political machinations can unleash unimaginable violence on innocent lives. These events, while distinct, reveal a sobering truth. The human condition is perennially vulnerable to division, fear, and violence. The echoes of such tragedies remind us that our progress as a species is neither linear nor guaranteed, and the safeguards of compassion and justice require constant vigilance.
How do we break this cycle? How do we stop history from repeating?
The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is the answer to prevent anything from happening again. And yet, we don't teach our children, we don't teach anybody. I mean, you go into the street, tell me some human rights, no one has any idea. It's mad. So they wrote this fantastic document and then forgot to tell anybody about it or something. I really can't understand how come it's happened. As I said, it's 77 years later. So I'm almost like inspired to start some kind of new campaign or charity or something to really get it, like with a petition to get the governments around the world to adopt and make it mandatory that they teach the universal human rights generally.
It begins with education. Human rights must be taught in schools, so the next generation knows, so they remember, so they act. Memory is not enough. Outrage is not enough. Action is the only antidote. But will we learn, or will history repeat itself again?